I want to thank everybody who spoke on all sides of the issue and presented their different viewpoints. And, you know, I guess I'll start with today's New York Times, which I brought. Mall's new pitch, come for the experience. People aren't buying stuff, they're looking for an experience. Malls are looking for things for people to do. So the idea of bowling alley, I love. The idea that there'd be something to do in Morristown besides eat and drink, I love. But the reality of the situation is we have a location here that has reached and exceeded a tipping point. And I think we've heard that from pretty much anybody who spoke who lives in the area, with perhaps one exception. And we now have a situation where my daughter, who's going to be 16, is not going to be allowed to go downtown for yogurt in the evening, probably after 9 o'clock, because of what is starting to go on. And one more bar is the last thing that we need. I'm especially concerned in this location. While the proximity to the parking garage is great, what it means is that people are crossing the street in the middle of the block and would be definitely doing so to get to this establishment drunk while cars are coming down the street. I'm really concerned for safety of the patrons of these establishments. The photographs of vomit that I get from business owners who are trying to scrub their doorsteps in the morning, real problem. We have had incidences of crime, and there's a reason, of course, why the police chief says we now have 8 officers working Friday and Saturday nights. It's because they're trying to keep the crime to a minimum. The number of DUI stops is another indication that we have an actual problem, and that one more bar, the concentration of bars of drinkers in this area is just too much. You know, we're doing this analysis of capacity, and I think that what was discussed at the earlier meeting was that the likely, also to approve this when we don't know what the capacity is going to be, is another problem. But my recollection was more between the square footage and some testimony, we could expect something more like the capacity of Sona 13, which is 450 people. Very different from Tashmu, where the capacity is 69. That's a huge added hit to a narrow street with one-way traffic, and pedestrians bound for any use in Morristown to that garage at the same time. It's just too many bars, too many drinkers in one location. The vacant lot across the street from this location is slated in the redevelopment plan to be entirely residential. My new constituents in that building, I'm going to take a guess, don't want to be looking down at people eating and drinking, and some of us get loud, just being loud on a rooftop. That's not what they anticipated when they looked at that. The 4 pre-sold units in the luxury townhouses that are going up diagonally across the street, those folks are not anticipating. They think they're getting what they're seeing. The reason that white building fit in that location when it was moved there is because Maple Avenue is office residential character. What's proposed here is very much not that. Madison Lanes closes at midnight, Hanover Lanes closes at midnight and 11 p.m. on Sundays. I have to say that what's proposed here, the intensity of the use, potentially 400 or more additional drinkers, the street cannot withstand it, the neighborhood cannot withstand it, and I am really concerned that the health and welfare of the entire area will be degraded substantially, and I just can't support it in this location. Thank you, Ms. Roper. You know what, I'm going to add one more thing because it's something that Mr. Williams said later. And you kind of spoke to me, I heard it sort of 2 sides of the coin. You said that this industry is so regulated, but at the same time you acknowledge that we already have all these problems. So clearly, one more bar is just going to exacerbate those problems of the industry and the businesses that are already subject to these regulations.
It sounds as though we already have a vote.